I've been trying to say something about this journey, this amazing journey that I've been on with my best friend, Jenny. And every time I try to say something, I can't think of any words, and then I can't think of what to say. So I decided that I would just not worry about how it sounds and just speak from my heart about where I've been and what I've learned and what I'm still learning. Ginny and I, we went to Hawaii in the year 2017 to take Court to school. And we went to this one place, and Ginny and I were laying under the stars. And we saw this one star. We were silent, and we're usually not quiet. You know, either of us were both extroverts, and there's not very much quiet time between us, but we were quiet for quite a while. And we were both looking up at these stars, and there were so many stars. It was incredible. But we had both somehow, without even saying, had zoned in onto this one tiny little star. And this little tiny star was like kind of showing himself, and then he'd go back in. And in my mind, I'm like, hey, little guy, come on. And every time in my mind, I would say, like, hey, little guy, you come out. And he would show himself. And Ginny and I were both sitting there, and I hear her say, hey, little guy, come on. Hey, little guy, come on. And then I was like, hey, are you talking is that the same little guy that you're talking to? She's like, yeah. And we pointed to both the same tiny little star that you could barely see. And we were like, hey, little guy, come on, come on. And he showed himself. And he came down and he showed himself. And we're like, oh my God, this star is like answering us. There's some resonance, there's some kind of type of communication, there's some type of thing that this star, every time we cheer him on, he comes out and he shows himself. And so we get the phone or the iPad, and we look at it in that star app, and we look at this star, and we look at it, and it's in Pisces, and we're both Pisces, and it's at the knot of Pisces. This star that you cannot really see. They say you cannot see the star. We look at this star, and it's called Alrisha, the well cord, meaning I'll rise again. It's the well cord because it's what draws, it's that thing that will draw water that from the well, the cord from the well. It will draw water from and it's like the cord on the bucket, it brings up the water, the well cord, and it's also wellness, to be well, to be whole. And it's that cord that we all have this cord within us, and it connects us to our source, universe. It's that cord that connects us to our true self. How do we get here? What's our purpose? Why are we here? Why are we here? Who are we? Who are we in relation to each other? Who are we in relation to God? Who are we in relation to this earth and to the animals that are in it? Who are we? Why do we have this consciousness they call us Homo sapiens? Sapien. It is the one that knows and knows that they know. We have that reflective ability to see that we know and to understand things and to recognize ourselves. We can see ourselves in the mirror and know it is us that's looking back at us. And this is one of the most important parts of consciousness. When we can have that ability and take that time away from the internet, from the computer, from the phone, from all these things, from all the noise that goes on. And we have that time, people call it meditation, prayer, whatever. But it's that time of self-reflection. It's that time that you take to see yourself. You know, and you know, even try to look in the mirror. I wonder how many of you look in the mirror every day. You know, a lot of us are afraid to do it because we've been told that's prideful. But how else are you supposed to know yourself? We have this fear of being self-centered that actually makes it self-centered. You know, because if we're always worried about, oh, am I doing okay? I have this thing where I am always like worried if I'm bothering people or if I'm not doing enough or if I'm like in the way or if I made a mess, which I always am making a mess. But I am always worried about that sort of thing. I'm always worried, you know, subconscious, to where I spend all my energy worrying about if I've done something or if I'm bothering somebody because we'll talk, you know, I have this thing where I'm not really good at my peripheral vision. I can't see if I left this or that there or made a mess, and I'm trying to clean it, and in a way I'm making a mess, you know, way worse mess than before. And I am so worried about this thing. I'm so worried about myself, if I'm doing okay, if I'm da-da-da-da, that I don't focus on anybody else. I'm so worried about not looking self-centered that I become self-centered and not in a good way. And it's a crazy thing that happens, you know. It's like when you're worried about how you're going to be, then you're going to be exactly how it is that you're worried about being. It's a weird thing. It just shows the power of our mind, that whatever we give attention to that's what happens. It manifests. It develops. It becomes that thing. So if I give my attention to the fact that I'm messy, and I'm trying to clean it up, and I'm worried about it being messy, I always make a bigger mess. You know, it's a crazy thing. But, you know, if I have something that I need to do in order, if I need to do something creative, and I need to clean up the place, and I'm not thinking about my creative project, or I'm thinking about the bigger thing, I can clean up the place in no time. Because it's not focused on, am I doing anything wrong? Am I okay? And my friend, the desert shaman, I made a great friend, his name is Kevin, he's a desert shaman. He's in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where I live. And he said that okay is an angel word. And so I think it might be helpful if you have those times where you're wondering if I'm okay, am I okay? Just know that the angels are telling you that you are okay. You're okay. You're okay as you are. You're okay as you are. That's the truth. All those quirks, all those things that we try to hide, all those parts of ourselves that we don't think that they're so, we don't think that they're appropriate, or we don't think that they're good, or we don't think that they fit in with everybody else, and so we say, no, you can have that part of yourself. We try to cut that part off, you know. And it's like the abandoned child over there, the orphan child that hasn't been parented very much, and so it always acts up in the worst times, you know. I want to tell you, maybe, of what I've learned about God. Sometime. I don't really know where to start. But I had to start somewhere. So bear with me. How did we get here? Why did we come here? What is a soul? What is the purpose of the soul? Can you lose your soul? What is this thing about lost souls? I used to be so sure. About what all of these things meant. And then things happened that shook my world, and I became so unsure that everything became unstable, and my mind became unstable because my belief system shattered. I didn't know what to believe in. My life was gone. And the system that held my worldview of God, the system that gave me the lens of which to see God, cracked. It failed me. It failed me badly. God didn't fail me. But I had a very poor lens. A filter that had developed of which to see God. And when that cracked, and I don't know how to say this. I'm going to probably skip this part here because I don't really know how to go on with that analogy. So this is what I've kind of gathered that what souls do. So souls are eternal. Okay, so there's two worlds, right? Okay, I don't know how to say this, dude. Okay. I'm gonna get a Diet Coke. You guys want one? Okay. This one's like halfway full, but it's kind of not that cold, so I'm gonna put it back in the refrigerator. And then I'm gonna get another one. You guys are welcome to some if you like. I got a 20-pack. You guys can have a cigarette if you like too, because that's how I think. I'm not gonna judge myself for it. I'm just gonna not worry about it. Because I think it's the stress and the worry that really cause problems. Some idea that may be foreign to our nature, it might cause that problem. Maybe some part of us that we've rejected, and then we get sick. Or some part that we think belongs to us, and it manifests into cells in our body. You know, that makes more sense to me. I know how powerful the mind can be. I've lost it. I've lost my mind. Twice. I'll tell you about that one day. Loss has been the best thing that's ever happened to me. Suffering has become my greatest joy. Marion Woodman was asked, who hurt you? Who was it that hurt you? And she said, it was God. It was God.